Hey all you gaucho and gauchets out there in YouTube land, I got a new video for you today. It's going to be part of a little tiny mini-series I'm going to try out, and I think you guys will like it, and I'm pretty sure you're going to have some opinions of your own, because this is going to be an opinion piece. It's not going to be fact, it's just going to be what I think, based on my experiences, and just hopefully some logical thought involved here, and I hope you guys will like. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at several firearms for survival and different types of survival. We're going to hopefully stick with realistic survival, and we're going to wander off into maybe some fantasy type survival. And I know you guys are going to like it, and I can't wait to show you. So let's get started, shall we? Today, we are going to deal with the hypothesis of not so much a scenario in this case, but the actual type of firearm. And the most you're going to be seeing are not going to be handguns. So this first segment will be handguns, and we'll talk about what is a good handgun for an emergency situation, and what are their pros and cons of using a handgun for survival. All right, guys, let's get started, shall we? All right, here we go. So scenario we're dealing with today is handguns, and we're going to talk about 3 different types of handguns and their pros and cons. We're going to start off with this. Now you guys will recognize, hopefully, the design. I cannot fire this one because it has a magazine safety on it, and I don't have the magazine with me right now, so we'll have to ignore that. It is clear. All these are always clear. Remember, guys, clear firearms. This one here is, if you can see it, says GSG. So the GSG 1911 and the SIG 1911 are the same 1911s, and these are in 22. This one has been zhuzhified. They come painted. This has been stripped of its paint with paint stripper and polished. If you're wondering why it looks the way it does, it should look like that trigger in there, all black, but that's just aesthetics. So what scenario would you want to use a 22 handgun? Why would you want to use a 22 handgun? Well, in my opinion, 22s are bare minimum survival rounds for hunting. Can you hunt with a 22 hand pistol? Yes, you definitely can. You're going to be picking off small things like prairie dogs and, birds and things of that sort, small prey animals. And we'll get into another video about surviving in the woods. Yes, we'll get into that video later date, and we'll talk about more practical weapons such as long arms for that. So this would be my choice, my bare minimum choice. I'm not a big fan of handguns in any survival situation, and I'll move on to the next one and I'll tell you guys why. So the 22 would be my choice for close quarter combat, extreme close quarter combat, are all handguns are good for. So defending yourself inside an enclosed environment. Think of it that way. And you can do some minor huntings. Pros of handguns, though, is they are compact, easy to carry, easy to conceal, and still have the practical purpose of being able to reach out and take down prey. All right, I'm going to go on to my second pick. And this one, I think you guys might find it a little fuddy or boomer. But I don't care. I actually really like these class of pistols. And this pistol here would be more of a luxury, end of the world kind of pick. Not merely luxury, but other way around. Sorry, I'll take that back. This is going to be my workhorse pick. You guys might already recognize this pistol. This one is a Tokarev style, TT-33 style, but this is the Chinese version. You can tell by the grip, and you can tell by the Chinese on top. I've done another video on this in the past. If you guys want to check it out, there's a nice little breakdown comparing it to the Russian TT-33. Once more, cleared, nothing in the chamber. There we go, further back. All right, fires, single action. So not so much the function on this. For me, it's the round and the availability of parts on something like this. I don't know about you guys in China, but these, in US, soon to be China. All right, anyways, as I was saying, these guys here, they are plentiful in Canada. Right now, finding any handgun is hard because our laws are currently messed up. Hopefully that will be fixed in the near future, but long story short, in Canada, these are plentiful. You can go to any gun store and there will be stockpiles of these, so parts and stuff like that are available, which is something you want to keep in mind for a survival situation, because not all survival situations will give you access to parts. But why did I choose this one in particular? Well, as I was saying, it's a surplus firearm. Technically still in production by China, but I don't know how interchangeable the parts are at this point in time. This is pretty much interchangeable with the TT-33, exception being slide and frame, and probably the bushing on the front, I would say. But the barrel, the trigger group, all that stuff, and most of the smaller parts are interchangeable. So if you have a Russian one or a Chinese one, you're in luck. I think the Chinese ones are far more plentiful than the Russian, which is why I chose this one. And the round that it fires, the 7.62 by 2.5, is a very powerful round. It's a military round, and I know a lot of people think 7.62 by 2.5, well, it can't be that good, it's not in production anymore. Well, that's not true. It still is in production. Vasta makes them, Norinco still makes them, and it's a very fast, small round. It's very similar to the FN 5.7. Much easier to get than the FN 5.7. If you're in an emergency situation, you're not going to find the 5.7 round anywhere. But gun stores, you will still find the 7.62 by 2.5. No issue, you'll find it in bulk, as in hundreds of rounds. One thing I will say, keep in mind about these guys, if you are using them as a backup or survival piece, they're yes, they're very inexpensive, and so is the ammunition. And these are about $200, something like that, when you can actually buy them. Keep an eye out for the ammunition. There's two problems with the ammunition. Well, three problems. Tres. One is corrosive. If it's a surplus round, it's going to be corrosive. So that kind of sucks. Two is it could have a steel core, which is great for survival. Not acceptable for ranges, so magnetically check your rounds if you're going to the range with these. And the third thing you gotta watch out for, and it's not going to kill you, but it will destroy your gun, is a lot of the surplus 7.62 rounds are designed for machine guns, which are loaded to a higher pressure. So they'll batter your gun a bit more and wear it out quicker. So keep that in mind if you're using surplus. You got to clean it. Watch out for steel cores, and watch out for the machine gun rounds, which are hot rounds. So that's my choice. I think this would be a great pick for, end of the world kind of survival. You want one handgun. I like this one. It's simple, very simple in operation, easy to find parts, and I would dare say probably even easy to make parts with something simple like some scrap metal. All right, moving on to my number one pick. My number one pick is a bit of a stand-in, so I'm going to warn you guys right ahead. I wanted to use a Glock, but I don't have access to a Glock, so I'll pick the company that Glock suit big time, and that's this guy here. This is the Smith & Wesson SD9VE, or as I like to call it, the SVD, because I don't know why I can't get sexual venereal diseases out of my head when I think about this gun. But it is the SD9VE, not the SVD. So this one's chambered in 9mm, hence the name. You can get them in 40. This is, like I said, standing in for a Glock. A lot of these parts in here are Glock parts. So much so that they were sued, lost, and had to pay Glock for the... like, for example, I have an extended takedown here. That's a Glock part, and so forth. There's an upgraded trigger, but doesn't have anything to do with this as a survivability weapon. My choice for this, imagine it as a Glock, not a Smith & Wesson, imagine it as a Glock. My choice for this would be plentiful parts. I don't think anybody can argue that point, that when you want a survival weapon, and let's say you're in the Walking Dead scenario and you need a firearm, and you're not going to be able to necessarily replenish your supplies on a regular basis, you want something you can at least find parts. And I think more importantly on this one here is the 9mm round, which is a NATO round. Every police force, 90% of the guns out there all use 9mm Parabellum, which is what this fires, a 9x19. So that's the number one reason why I would choose a Glock. Of parts availability, common ammo. It also is a very light weapon compared to most because of the polymer frames on these, which is great if you're going to be carrying a gun with you every day. Now keep in mind, I am not and I will never support shooting people. Okay, guys, I'm not anti firearms, but I am anti murder. And to me, if you can solve a situation with fists, like let's say you're in a grocery store and somebody is being a dick, I'd rather punch him in the face than shoot him in the face, because when you punch somebody in the face, you get to go home at the end of the day. When you shoot him in the face, you go to jail. And if you're lucky, you get out. And if it's Canada, you don't get out. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of shooting people. It's really not necessary. So that's what I'm not promoting that. I'm talking about survival. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there. I'm so tired of watching videos where everyone's talking about killing people. It's like, if you own a gun, you're not going to shoot somebody with it. You know, my dad was on the police force for 35 years, pulled his gun once in the line of duty just to search a van, and he didn't want to shoot anybody, and most people don't. And hopefully you're one of those people that you enjoy the hobby and the fun, but you're not walking around with a give me the excuse idea. So, check that. So I was saying, this has been zhuzhed up. I think I did a video on this one, but infilled the colors just for looks. Machine turned the top because the hood was scraping, and I thought, well, I'd rather just disguise it with some nice machining there. Looks better in person than it does on camera. I said upgraded the trigger, so you can do all those kind of things. But keep in mind, whenever you do something like an upgrade, anytime you modify something from the original, you stand a chance of making it worse. But those are my choices, and I will lay them out. Sorry, my desk is messy. There we go, guys. Those are my choices for survival handguns. Would I pick a handgun as my primary survival weapon? Never. Never, never, never. So, will you guys pick one as a survival weapon? Yeah, you could. I mean, they're great for airplanes. I mean, a lot of pilots carry them, bush pilots and so forth. These smaller caliber rounds. As I forgot to mention, the 22, obviously, availability of ammo is amazing. Ability to carry a ton of ammo is amazing. That's why the 22 is on here, and I don't think I made that clear enough, but I'm just going to clear it now. Anyways, I hope you like that, guys. I really love to hear your opinion. If there's another round, in Canada, you can carry a handgun if you're a bush pilot or a trapper, but it's got to be something massive like 500 Smith & Wesson, something to take down a bear. That's the primary threat in Canada: bear, moose, large animals like that. So these wouldn't be great for bush pilots, fighting off larger prey, but all these would be great for hunting small prey and keeping your family alive. You don't always want to shoot something like a deer, because who's going to eat all your deer if there's only 5 of you guys, right? So, hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it's not dry. I'm going to try to throw in some images and do some fun stuff. You know, that corny YouTube thing you got to do to make people interested. Next up, I will be doing a video on the End of Days Perfect Survival Rifle. And I don't think you guys are going to like that one, but I think you'll appreciate the ideas. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a little controversial, but I think you guys will enjoy it. And hopefully this goes off with a bang. Horrible pun. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. And stay tuned for more.